everything is going to be revealed. Nothing done in the dark would stay in the dark. It's going to be brought to the light. So I know that by going to confession is a way to strengthen us when we are attacked. And we have to pray for our priests because they give us the daily bread that we need, the body of Christ. So if we're attacked, they're attacked 7 times greater than we are. And they are human. I know that. And I know that they probably need more prayers than we do. I'm grateful for Mass because that's the greatest prayer we can offer. And also, I pray for our priests daily. I just hope that all of us were able to, to overcome all the temptations that the enemy of the Church and of Christ has continuously from the beginning sought to bring us down. So I just pray for even those that have done the things that are being done into the Church. I ask God for mercy upon them because that's who He is. He is mercy, and we have to show them mercy and have to forgive them too, that they will come back to the Lord, at least spiritually, if not any other way. I do feel bad for all victims of any violence or any kind of a injury. I just pray that we would all be able to continue to lift up all these needs to our Lord, and through our Blessed Mother, she will answer them. She will give them to her Son to bless us and continue to be one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.
Right. Marie, you tapped into something very profound, and that is, there's many times folks will say, I can't be an apologist like a Tim Staples or something of that nature, or, but basic in apologetics is the creed. When anybody asks you, what you believe, and you have captured that, Marie, and I just want to say thank you for bringing that to our attention again. That is so true. The creed, as we know it to be the truth of what you believe, and you said you would die for that. I as well, and I know Jerry. I can speak for Jerry. I know he would as well, and many others that are calling in today feel the same way because we're passionate about what we believe and we know is true. Jerry, I don't want to put you on the spot, but isn't there something like over 400,000 or 500,000 priests around worldwide? I mean, there's and even though that number has stayed pretty much relatively the same, there's still the growth of the Catholic Church has exploded, from 2000 to 2015, 16. Okay, maybe not this last couple of years because people are kind of wondering, where they stand with the Catholic Church. But Jerry, here's my point is, okay, you have this small number of priests that have fallen. They have fallen. They were weak. Okay. And we need to be praying for all the priests. Okay. But yet people are still coming in because they're drawn into the truth. Marie, you tapped into that, the creed. Amen to you, sister. I think you're awesome. Keep going. Tell everybody to really practice and live the creed. What do you think, Jer?
I can't add anything more to what you said. Marie, thank you so much for your very passionate call. Appreciate that. I do want to mention a little bit later today, I'm going to be taping this week's Vocation Boom radio show with Monsignor David Toops, and he is the rector of St. Vincent de Paul Seminary in Boynton Beach, Florida. And Debbie, you said, we need more priests. Well, we're going to talk to Monsignor Toops, the rector there in Boynton Beach. At the seminary about, what are the guys thinking when they come in? Has there been any kind of a hiccup in guys applying, enrolling? Have any of the guys left because of this stuff? I think I know the answers to all of these, but I encourage people to tune in Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on many of these EWTN radio stations. That's
going to be a great show. I can't wait to listen to it. Okay, Don is up next, and Don is in New York City on Sirius XM 130. So New York. Hi, Don. Welcome.
Hi. How are you folks? And it's a great topic. And as I told your call screener, back in 1988, I fell in love with my faith. And ever since that time, I had made a promise to myself and to the Lord that I would never allow a human being to take me away from the faith, because I recognized I had encountered, some priests that I didn't think was so devout. And I saw in that there was a potential there for, and also I would talk with people who would leave the church because of a particular priest. And I just found that to be so, it just didn't make sense to me, because the faith is much bigger than that, than any individual. So, and I've seen how the Lord has blessed my wife and I in our marriage. And also, we have 2 children that are devout in the faith. And at a time when young people are turning away, my son and my daughter are raising their children to be devout Catholics. So I would never, although I'm very disappointed with the hierarchy of the church, and I hold them accountable for not only this matter but other things, I felt that they've been watered down in their preaching, and they're not as forceful as they should be in this secular world that we're living in. I still I'm undeterred in the strength of my faith.
Well, great. No, you're in a very solid spot there, Don. You're in a very solid spot, and that's for us. What we have to do is we have to, the underpinnings of our faith have to be, of course, prayer, reception of the sacraments, regular confession, spiritual reading, and all of that. But also, we have to have that decision in our minds and in our hearts that we will not leave the church because of any one individual, even a priest, even the Pope.
Yes.
Not even if the Pope came out and started preaching heresy tomorrow. We know
Yes.
what the church is. But see, Debbie, as you know, you taught religious education for a long time. You know that there are many, probably millions of people, Debbie, right now who are not like Don, who don't have that solid foundation because they were shortchanged in religious education, and they don't see with the eyes of faith that the church is what it is. It's holy in its essence, and it's where we belong if we want to get to heaven.
Yeah, I agree. Don, what do you think? What Jerry's saying?
Oh, yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's unfortunately there is that weakness in catechesis that, and people don't get to that point of having a deep relationship with the Lord. So as a result, when things like this come about, I always think of the scriptures, one of my favorites, the Lord's sleeping in the boat and the seas are rocking. And right now they're rocking, and if we don't have a strong faith...
Don, hang on one second, please. Hang on. I got something to say about that that's interesting. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're revisiting the clergy sex abuse scandal today on the show. Stay with us. Okay, Don, so the power of radio. So now you get to pick up where you left off. Tell us about the boat story one more time, and I wanted to just make a quick comment. Go ahead, Don.
The church that I go to, that's a stained glass, that scripture is a stained glass window in the church, and it attracted me a long time ago. We're in the boat, and the storm is raging, but Jesus wants us to keep our focus on him and forget about not focus on the storm that's going on around us. And as I said earlier, I am very upset with the hierarchy of the church, including the Pope. But I will not let that deter me in my faith. And I think now's the time when the laity needs to be even more involved in the church and speak up and be encouraging to fellow Catholics to remain steadfast in the faith. Now's the time for us to speak up, to be involved, and to encourage each other to hold fast.
Yeah, absolutely, Don. And Don, I just wanted to say this because, as Jerry mentioned, I have a catechetical background. You look at the U.S. right now. There's I believe the latest report is there's a 65% decline in vocations to the priesthood in the U.S. since 1965. Okay, so look at this from a bigger perspective. Okay, of course, Satan from the inside is going to play on people's weaknesses. He's going to create this shortage, even though we have over 1 billion Catholics. And Catholics are still, even though there's many leaving the church, there are still people coming into the church. Okay? Isn't this a great, Don, kind of a story of rocking that boat, of saying, okay, you're not going to have enough priests to perform the sacraments. You're not going to have enough priests to be there. And yet people still want to come into the faith. Isn't this a great scenario for Satan to play out that, see, the Catholic Church is not where you should be? To me, it makes complete sense that we need to support our priests. We need to support our church. We need to build vocations, and we need to help purify the church through our prayers to make everything right so that people, when they come into the faith, can keep their eyes fixed on Jesus and not get rocked so easily. So, Don, I'm right with you on this, and I think this is very interesting. I think this is a good conversation to have because it lets us all, as the lay faithful, say, what can we do right now? Because I'm frustrated, too, with the hierarchy, Don. I think we all are to some degree. Right, Jerry?
Well, yeah, there's been disappointment, definitely, and you certainly always want to give them the reverence that their office requires and calls for, but at the same time, those are men, human beings just like you and me, and the thing is, so many people think, they mistakenly think, when a man is ordained a priest, that all of a sudden he's like God. His concupiscence goes away,
Exactly.
And he becomes like the Virgin Mary, sinless or something, which isn't true. He takes all of that into the seminary with him. And I will just go on record as saying this, and this will never happen, of course, because if I were a bishop, see, that's why it'll never happen. But if I were a bishop, I would make psychological counseling mandatory for every one of my seminary students.
Totally agree.
Not because I'm suspecting that they have mental health issues or, just issues from their past life that they have to work through, but simply to help make them the best, healthiest from a mental, psychological standpoint. Because a lot of this, it comes from stuff that happened in their past. So
yeah, well, here's another quick example, Don. Thank you again for your wonderful participation in this conversation. Real quickly, Jerry, I had a priest that I worked with, and we could tell on the weekends he was drinking, and he would drink a little too much, and we all saw it coming. We said he's going to get off balance, and he's going to be susceptible to just doing something stupid and just give in to those weaknesses. But Jerry, he was under tremendous pressure at the church. Okay. And so my point is just what you were just saying, Jerry. If he had resources to go to on a regular basis or something that kept him balanced, he may not have gone to that direction. Now he brought it back to center, and he got well. But my point is, Jerry, any one of us could be in that situation. So we really have to make sure everybody is balanced, especially when they're in ministry, or at least give them the resources to stay balanced. So I totally agree with you, Jerry.
Okay, a lot of phone calls here. Hang on the line. We're going to get to you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Zoe is next in the Midwest, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for being there.
You're welcome.
This is an important topic. And just touching base on people who might say, when will this stop? We've had enough already. We don't want to hear about this anymore. That the church is in a process of a very important purging process. We have to know that this hurts God tremendously. You know, Jesus' heart is broken. And surely Mary must weep at the sons and daughters and lay people who have harmed the very sheep that they're supposed to be the shepherds of. And to say, when will this stop? It is very painful to have to say that a person has been harmed by the person they trusted with their life. And that they trusted this person to honor his vows of chastity, trusted this person was holy, especially in persona Christi. But priests are sinners too, and we understand that they're human. And those shepherds who have chosen to lead their sheep astray must be held accountable, and therefore the voices are so important. The church needs this purification, and we should find some joy in that this is finally happening. For centuries, there's just been disgusting stuff going on, right, hidden, that needs to come out into the light. And at some point, a person might wonder, how could I ever trust a priest to offer the sacraments? Perhaps cynicism has entered in their heart, or doubt. But we need to realize, I think, that and know that Jesus is there always, every time, and every sacrament is there. No matter if the priest isn't as holy as we think they ought to be,
right.
Perhaps we should become
better. Let me jump in, Zoe. You are making a critical point right now. Forgive me for interrupting you, but this is, a lot of people will say, here's what a lot of people will do. They go to a mass, and it's not contingent upon, they may not even know the priest, but they're in one communion line, and they kind of tiptoe over into the other communion line because Father's giving communion. Okay, that's what some people do. Nowadays, some people are hesitant to even go to a certain mass or a parish because Father so-and-so may be suspected or was accused, it wasn't credible, he's still in ministry, whatever, or maybe nothing like that has happened, and they still don't want to go to a priest for any of these things. But we have to realize that they are holy and the sacraments are valid. If they are validly consecrated, the sacraments are valid, and we have that encounter with Jesus Christ, with God himself, in spite of the moral state of the priest, any sins he has committed, whether he prays or not. We hope they all pray. But Jesus Christ, Debbie, as you know, set it up that the sacraments act objectively. That's apart right. from the disposition of the one administering the sacrament.
Right. That's why we have to constantly remind ourselves of that and talk about that. Zoe, you bring up you said about the offenses to God, and you're so right. You just have to imagine that the good Lord and Our Lady are they're just heartbroken, if you can say that, heartbroken over this, because we have the truth, and yet the human failings have entered in, and now we have this mess, and it seems to be spiraling, and people don't know where to go. But I do believe, Zoe, and tell me if you agree with this, that if we, the lay faithful, if we become very strong and rooted in our Catholic faith, we will see that purification. It may never be perfect from a human standpoint, but it'll be where it'll give people a sense of security and hope again, and it will be pleasing to God in a well-rounded sense. Jerry, do you think that's in our future if we stay faithful? I just believe that.
Yeah, no question about it. Popes John Paul II and Benedict XVI. And I don't know, Francis, to the same degree or not, but they have talked about the new springtime. And, springtime only comes after winter, right? You start to see the little blades of grass shooting up through the ice and the snow, and spring is on the way. But winter can be winter can be bitter, it can be cold, it can be painful, but spring is coming because our prophetic, saintly popes have told us that it is. It may, things don't come quickly in the church, so we may or may not live to see something get better before it gets worse, but we certainly must support the priests who are giving their all for us, and religious men and women as well. So, Zoe, thanks for your call.
Thank you, Zoe.
We appreciate that very much. Jane is in Goshen, Indiana, listening on Redeemer Radio to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Jane.
Hi, this is Jane. I haven't talked to you guys in a while.
Yes,
Welcome
hi,
back.
Jane.
First of all, Debbie, I am praying for you that your cold gets better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
One thing that I wanted to share was we have a wonderful bishop here in the Diocese of Fort Wayne South Bend. His name is Kevin Rhodes. And he has been so upfront from the very beginning. He has said that he would publish those individuals who had been accused or had been, taken away from the parish or the diocese because of indiscretions on their part. And he did. He published it in the church paper and in the public papers. He also stated at a men's conference about 3 weeks ago, because, of course, it was the elephant in the room, that the sad part was when the church first started addressing this back in the early 2000s, the unfortunate thing that they did not follow through on were the victims. And that was the reason why this has become such a big, big issue, because the victims have been unfortunately so overlooked. He has really made the effort to point out that in spite of this, that we have to continue to pray. We have to continue to uphold our faith, because as Jesus said, no one will take. When he gave the keys of the kingdom to St. Peter, he said no one will nothing will come against the church. Unfortunately, with the media and public opinion, it does. It puts a big slam on our face. What I feel is that in every diocese, the bishop needs to address the public. We have a wonderful priest, Father Royce. He came and addressed it on the pulpit one weekend after it had all blown up, and he says, we do not feel that, or we feel that this is so sad that we don't feel that we are justified in apologizing to you because it is so horrible. He said, we want to make amends. We want to make sure that you know that in our diocese we are taking this very seriously. We want people to come forward, and people have come forward. And we want them to know that we will listen to them. So the confidence that I feel at this point is, yes, this is a sad time. Yes, this is a time that unfortunately the victims are the ones that are suffering the most. But God has a way of moving things around, and I heard that Mary, our Virgin Mother, is on the move in our country, and I really do believe that because, like you said, the Catholic people are converting more and more to Catholicism, that she is making things right with us. And our bishop has assured us that every seminarian that comes into the seminary at this point, they are being psychologically vetted. They are being scrutinized. And they are asked if they are very serious about their vocation, because we want to be certain that we are getting the true pastors of the church, the true representatives of Jesus Christ in our church, because after all, that's who they are. They are representing our Lord there in the confessional and Mass.
Yeah, excuse me. You're in a very blessed geographical location, let me put it that way. There are so many great things going on in the Diocese of Fort Wayne, South Bend. Bishop Rhodes is certainly one of those great things that has happened to your diocese. His predecessor, Bishop Darcy, was fantastic. You go back down the line, Bishop Knoll, there's always been great, strong, faithful leadership in the Diocese of Fort Wayne. And where that happens, the faithful feel that, like you said, that security, Jane. They feel secure. Hey, the shepherd of a sheep really loves us and cares for us and tends to his flock, and that gives the sheep the freedom to live their lives in security and in peace and not worrying about a lot of the stuff that there are people in other dioceses around the country, Debbie, I'm sure, whose bishops have maybe been complicit in covering up or accusations made against them, or they've got a whole truckload of accusations against priests who are probably really about to panic right now, not really sure what to do. So we need to pray for Pope Francis, our cardinals, our bishops, our priests, our deacons, religious seminarians, religious men and women, and seminarians, because the church needs holy vocations today more than ever.
Holy vocations, yeah. Thank you, Jane. Thank you for the prayers too. And you're in a blessed diocese. Thank you for your contribution today to this conversation. We appreciate it so very much. Okay, Jerry, do you have any social media coming in? Because I have a lot, and I can't even get to it. It's so much. Do you want to?
There are a few, yeah, but if you want to read a couple, go ahead.
No, actually, I'm actually frozen, so that's why I passed it to you.
Well, actually, I have one from Jennifer. It's for your throat. I'll pass that along to you off the air afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy says, we have to remember that the gates of hell will not prevail against the church that Jesus Christ founded. And personally, I feel that in the end times, the evil one will attempt to infiltrate and try to get those who would be closest to God. We need to be strong in our faith and know the truth of our faith. We can answer to those who want to or are thinking of leaving because of the scandals. And that's from Kathy on Facebook.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was referring to, Jerry, when I said like the church. I was talking about the human element in the church. We'll never be perfect. We're humans. Okay, we're going to make mistakes, but the church and the beliefs and the tenets of the faith, they are real, they're whole, they're true. They are from Christ. So let's hear what Angela has to say in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Angela. Thanks for waiting. I love your name, Angela. You're named after the angels. I love it. Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to call in from a different perspective. My husband was a victim of molestation from a priest when he was a child. And we are still Catholic. We're actually probably more faithful and more involved with our faith now than we ever were before.
Wow. Tell us how you did that. How did you do that? How did you reinvigorate your faith and go stronger?
Well, actually, I didn't know until recently that he was molested from a priest. He just disclosed that. But one of the things, he's been in therapy for a while for it. So that's really helped. And we actually prayed Mary and Doer of Knox. Really helped a lot in helping to move forward and have forgiveness, because it's not the church, it was the person. That's right. And our faith is still beautiful, and it's still worth it, I guess. And, I guess, we grew up in Catholic school our whole lives, and, priests have always been an authority figure, and you don't go against them. But as you get older, you realize that they're human, too. And so just really, I would say praying to Mary and doing the rosary and the Undoer of Knots really helped a lot with that.
Wow. Yeah, Angela, you and your husband have been given a great gift here in being able to, see it this way and act the way you have. And like you said, your faith is stronger than ever. You are practicing the faith. I know you both must, especially him, have a real spot deep in your heart of compassion and empathy and love for others who have been abused by priests. I'm just curious, and this is, I don't know this question would even go. But, we have these victims groups that are out there. We saw them during the summit in Rome, and, EWTN and the other news outlets get them on the air and get their position and their take. And they're always never quite satisfied with what the steps the church has taken, and quite frankly, I'm not always satisfied with how the church is handling this either. But how does your husband especially feel about the groups that are going out there, and especially the ones that want monetary settlements from the church and all these kinds of things, or bishops removed and all of that? To me, it doesn't sound like that's his heart in this matter. It sounds like he would probably just, get the counseling, try to forgive, and kind of move on with the life with you, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, he really would like to start actually working with other men who have gone through this type of trauma, and just share, really both of us, to share our story in, how it affected our marriage, how it affected his life, and really how to move forward, because you can't change what happened. You can never change that, but learning to forgive and understand that it's not your fault really is more of his message and his heart than a monetary settlement, because what is that going to do? Money is just money. Mm-hmm. But your faith and your faith life and your family is just so much more.
Yeah.
So we have a greater blessing in just helping people heal than monetary. God will provide money for us when we need it. We don't need to go after the church for it. So that's, I guess, the way we look at it.
Angela, can I just say something? Please tell your husband, he is such a strong man. He has been through so much. My heart breaks for what he went through, and how I'm sure it really rocked him to the core. And like you said, it affected your marriage and everything, and all the work that he's had to do. The victims of this, it's gut wrenching to know what they have gone through. But I just want to say something. I'm always looking at the end game, and maybe it's because I'm getting older and I'm starting to realize I'm not going to be here that much longer. And I just think to myself, Angela, when you and your husband finish your time here on earth, I can just picture the good Lord saying, going back to Don's call from New York City, you focused on Christ. Even though the boat was rocking, even though it was troubled waters, even though there was so much pain and so much discomfort and insecurity, you focused on Christ. You just have to imagine that when Christ greets you, he's going to say, well done, you hung in there and you focused on me, not the people, not the failings, not the sinfulness, you focused on Christ. I just want to say, please tell your husband, he's an amazing man, and you're an amazing woman, and you guys can do a lot of great ministry work together. So thank you so very much for sharing your story today.
Yeah, we'll keep you and your husband in our prayers, and we ask that you do the same, as we do with all victims and their families and anybody impacted by that. Thank you, Angela, so much. Carla is going to be next in Niagara Falls, Ontario, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Carla. We got about 2 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. I wanted to thank you, Jerry and Debbie, for the show, because I listen to it every day, pretty much every day, and I am also saddened by the scandal that has happened, and I just wanted to say that it's difficult for us Catholics. And it just makes me wonder, really, what the world would have been like if the priests involved were doing what they should have been doing. I recognize that this is a difficult time for a lot of people, for the victims, but also for those surrounding the victims, and I think that it would be a good idea to have maybe some sort of, I don't know if the word is right, but a reparation day for those who have been hurt by this. I think that we need to ask God for help in our humanity when a tragedy like this happens to people.
Yeah.
So,
well, Carla, thanks for the call. We're going to get short on time here, and so Joe and Mike and Jody and the others, we are not going to be able to get to you, but we will have this. We will do this topic again. But Debbie, I think what was just resounding in my mind and my heart as Carla was talking is the ripple effect of this. There's not just one victim in a priest abuse situation.
Very true, very true. Jerry, we really do need to revisit this again. I know that we have St. Joseph's Day tomorrow, and which is a very special feast day. It's one of my favorite feast days in the whole world because I get to eat pastries. But we need to revisit this again because I think it helps us all to deepen our relationship with God and keep that on, the prime focus of our lives. And I think this can help us in the healing process, Jerry. So I hope we get to revisit this again.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So Debbie and I will be together in Seattle for Sacred Heart Radio Share-a-thon. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that and other things. We want to thank the affiliates for carrying the program, the show team, Rich, Jeff, Ryan, and thank you all, the Take Two family, for making it what it is. I'm Jerry Escher along with Debbie Georgiani, hoping that you have a beautiful and blessed day.